Never outshine the master. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. In your desire to please and impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite, inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power.
We've all felt that instinct before. You come up with an incredible idea or accomplish something you're really proud of, but hesitate to share it with your boss or superiors. Why? Because deep down, you know outshining them could jeopardize your standing and even your job. Let me tell you a cautionary tale from 17th century France that reveals why you need to be so cautious about outshining masters and people above you. King Louis XIV took the French throne as a young child. The realm was governed by a regency council until he came of age. A key member of that council was Nicolas Fouquet. Now, Fouquet was very talented at finance and administration. He helped raise enormous sums of money to fund France's wars and lavish royal lifestyle. But Fouquet also loved displaying his own wealth. He had a taste for throwing decadent, over-the-top parties and living in luxury. When Louis XIV took over governing as an adult, Fouquet expected he'd be promoted to prime minister, since that role was left vacant. But the king decided not to fill the position at all, preferring to rule directly. This made Fouquet uneasy about his standing with the young king. So he tried desperately to get back in Louis's good graces. His method? Hosting the most spectacular, opulent banquet and party the world had ever seen in honor of King Louis. The party was so extravagant it bordered on obscene. A lavish 7-course dinner with foods from around the world, cooked by master chefs. Musical performances commissioned just for the occasion. A play written by Molière was performed. The party culminated in an elaborate fireworks show and promenade through Fouquet's luxurious gardens. The message was clear. Fouquet was just as cultured, refined, and wealthy as the king himself. But instead of ingratiating himself with Louis, this incredible spectacle had the opposite effect. King Louis felt deeply insecure and threatened. All he saw was a subordinate flaunting his own power and upstaging the king. Barely a month later, on very trumped-up embezzlement charges, Louis had Fouquet arrested and sentenced to life in prison. The real reason? Good old-fashioned jealousy. Fouquet had inadvertently outshone the Sun King and would pay for that mistake for the rest of his life. So what important lessons can we draw from this cautionary tale? First, be extremely wary of masters and superiors who are deeply insecure and jealous. Do not assume they are rational actors. Their egos are fragile, and even inadvertently showing them up can spell your downfall. Tread carefully. Also, resist the temptation to use fawning, overt flattery. This tends to backfire, coming across as insincere and even patronizing. The most effective flattery is subtle and discreet. Cleverly find ways to make your boss or master the center of positive attention in a genuine, natural manner. Be creative in subtly catering to their ego. We can look to Galileo Galilei for a positive example. As a scientist, Galileo depended on the patronage of powerful families like the Medicis to fund and protect his work. When Galileo discovered the moons of Jupiter, he named them after various members of the Medici family. He claimed the moons orbited Jupiter as the Medici children revolved around their father. This was a brilliant tactic because it subtly played up to the Medici family's vanity and ego. They loved the symbolism of Jupiter representing their dynasty. Galileo avoided the dangerous route of outshining his patrons. Instead, he made them shine. As a reward, the Medicis made him their court philosopher and mathematician with a handsome salary. The lesson? When you create something or have a great new idea, find ways to give your superiors public credit for it. Make it seem like you are just thoughtfully echoing their wise advice and guidance. Galileo announced his discovery of Jupiter's moons as a tribute to the Medicis' greatness, not an accomplishment of his own genius. That would have been suicidal. Learn from his clever example. Now, you cannot and should not eliminate your intelligence or talents entirely, but there are still ways to avoid showing up your boss or superiors. For instance, rely on your humor and wit carefully around them. If a joke might make them seem foolish or cold by comparison, best to leave it unsaid. Also, resist the urge to be the most dynamic, charming person in the room. Don't let your sociability outshine your superiors. They should be the sun, and you the moon reflecting their light. When you have a brilliant idea, humbly ask for your boss's insights and guidance about it. Compliment their intelligence and wisdom. Make them feel more brilliant than you. Managing your talents and ideas in this delicate manner requires finesse, but pays dividends in the long run. Carefully hiding your light helps you rise higher, so learn from Galileo's clever approach. With subtlety and discretion, you can make superiors feel important while concealing your own brilliance and slowly gaining power. Avoid Fouquet's fatal example of flagrantly outshining the master. That is a dangerous, self-sabotaging mistake. Cultivate allies carefully. In conclusion, be cautious about outshining those above you. Make them the sun, you the moon reflecting their radiance. This wise mindset illuminates a path to success.